Coming up on Good Morning Northwest, word is spreading in Seattle's Chinatown International District about an increase in attacks against Asian Americans.
And we are looking ahead to a few rain chances moving in over the next couple of days. Your forecast. It's all coming up.
From Camp KView Local News, this is Good Morning Northwest.
Good morning and thank you for joining us on this Thursday, March 4th. I'm Neil Fischer. Almost to the end of the week. Chief Meteorologist Kristin Walls is with us. Kristin, it's a little chilly outside to start the morning.
It is. Yeah, you're going to want to bundle up. I always say dress in layers right now because we're going to see that nice warm up later on this afternoon. So let's get you started first with that live look. This is from downtown Yakima. And for you, numbers are down into the 30s early this morning as we switch over a few spots, including the Tri-Cities, just below that freezing mark. 31 right now in the Tri-Cities and Prosser. 37 for Walla Walla, Connell, one of our colder spots at 28, and then sitting in at 34 degrees over in the Yakima. But pretty quiet still around the Pacific Northwest today. We have a lot of changes moving through here Friday, and as we start off your upcoming weekend with a few rain showers that might be spilling into our area even. But today, enjoying another day filled with some sunshine, 57 degrees there at lunchtime, 64 later on this afternoon. So again, timing out those rain chances. I'll tell you how long they're expected to stick around, what your weekend has in store for you. Your full forecast, Neil, it's all coming up.
Thank you, Kristin. Officers at the Yakima Police Department are currently searching for 2 runaway teens from the area. The department is seeking information on a missing 16-year-old named Ryan Chouinard. According to information from local authorities, Chouinard ran away from his home on February 24th. He's 6'1" and roughly 150 pounds. YPD is also looking for a runaway girl. According to officials, 15-year-old Jamie Vargas has been missing since she left her home last Saturday. Vargas is described as approximately 5 feet tall, and her estimated weight is about 120 pounds. Local authorities ask that you reach out if you have any information regarding these missing teens. While their disappearances came within a short span of each other, police are saying the 2 incidents are separate. Police are investigating a violent attack on a young Asian woman in Seattle as a potential hate crime. This comes as violence against Asian Americans has spiked in major cities across the country. According to police records, a stranger attacked a young woman in the face after swinging a sock that had a rock inside of it. The man then attacked the woman's boyfriend in the head before running away. Seattle police are now investigating that attack, calling it bias crime. The King County Prosecutor's Office is also looking at 2 other hate crimes cases from late January.
Because of the perpetuating model minority myths, a lot of people see Asians as lucrative or easy targets. Especially with a lot of anti-Asian sentiments that are perpetuated with the Trump administration. These incidences are happening, and they're happening more frequently.
Officials say they saw a spike in hate crime cases last year and a 39% increase over 2019, but can't say how many of them specifically involved attacks on Asian Americans. Police departments near Seattle and Tacoma are trying to figure out who's cutting brake lines on cars and why. Dozens of drivers in the Puget Sound region have gotten in their cars and hit the road only to find out they can't stop. It only takes seconds to cut the brakes. While there are no reports yet of anyone being involved in a deadly crash because of these crimes, one victim worries it's only a matter of time.
This car gets on the road and it's literally just it's a time bomb. We got to get this guy, or person, or people, or group.
Jeffrey Tebuha says he knows several neighbors who got hit, and while his Ring camera caught the criminal in the act, you can see that video doesn't show a good look at their face. Police think the same person may be to blame for all the crimes, but they don't know why it's happening. Nearly 2 months after the attack that turned deadly at the U.S. Capitol, the nation is again on alert for more potential violence. This after Capitol Police revealing a possible plot by a militia group to storm the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. today. And that alert goes for our state as well. WSP says the campus security is still heightened, but the heavy National Guard and State Patrol presence is now gone. And for now, the 8-foot fence surrounding the Capitol and some legislative buildings is staying.
We are in a time of increased uncertainty about security, and so that means we've got to be in a time of increased precaution.
Both state patrol and federal officials insist those motivated to commit violence, intimidate, or coerce will be held accountable. Right now, 3 people have been arrested and 3 more arrests are likely after 300 people breached the gate on the governor's mansion and stormed the lawn on January 6th. In Connell, the North Franklin School District superintendent took on an additional title, all for the sake of his students getting to class. And in a region where almost 1,000 students rely on buses for transportation, this includes being a bus driver. Superintendent Jim Jacobs says last December they were running low on drivers, so he stepped in. He would study to get his Class B commercials driver's license, which is when he met Brian Conklin.
Jim was the first one on the docket that day, and we went out and we tested, and he did fantastic. And he smiled at me and said, well, I have to share something with you. I'm the superintendent of the school district. And I was like, that's really cool. And then I found out their transportation director position was opened, and I immediately put in for it because this is the kind of guy I want to work for.
Conklin says Jacobs taking on an additional job is just a part of the helping nature in the district, especially when getting back to school safely during the pandemic is a priority.
Anything that we can do to get our students into our school district, into our buildings, around the adults and the staff that care about them and want to support them and help their academic and social needs throughout this pandemic. If that means driving a bus, I'm on board. I'll do that.
NFSD is a very, very vast district. Jacobs says that annually their drivers rack up about 500,000 miles. If you can, both educators encourage anyone to become a substitute bus driver because they are very needed right now. In sports, we'll start with the Tri-City Americans who finally get back on the ice 2 weeks against the Portland Winterhawks. The 24-game sprint will be solely against members of the WHL U.S. division. Recently, the Americans announced their roster of 25 players. They'll have 2 goalies, 14 forwards, and 9 defenders. 17 of the 25 AMs are returning from last season. Their 33rd season in the WHL will be without fans, but it'll be good to have them back soon. On to the NBA, the Portland Trailblazers were back in action last night against Steph Curry and the Warriors. It took some late heroics from Damian Lillard, but the Blazers held off Golden State in a 108-106 thriller.
Lillard has it poked away by Bazemore and keeps his dribble alive now. Lillard step back 3. Bang!
With the win, Portland is 2-1 against the Warriors this season, which could prove critical down the line as the teams jockey for playoff positioning. They'll also host the Sacramento Kings tonight before heading off on their All-Star break. Damian Lillard will represent the Blazers in Atlanta as a reserve for the Western Conference. It's now time to raise the flag here on Good Morning Northwest with the Pledge of Allegiance.
With schools pretty much closed, we still honor the flag each morning. So please send a photo or video of your child doing the Pledge of Allegiance to pledge@capkvu.com, and we'll share it with viewers.
At Archibald's, we believe it's important to keep the traditions that have made our country great. We're proud to support Raise the Flag.
Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. Facebook says it plans to end its moratorium on political ads today. The ban on U.S. political advertising began in November, around the time of the 2020 elections. Facebook also signaled that it may implement further changes to its policies regarding the ads. The ad restriction rollback comes amid law enforcement concerns about right-wing extremists possibly planning more violence around the U.S. Capitol today. Platforms including Facebook are being scrutinized for social media's role in fanning the flames ahead of the siege on the Capitol on January 6th. This brings us to our poll question of the day. Should social media companies allow political ads on their platforms? Vote now at yaktrinews.com/vote and on our CapKVU app, and we'll have those results at the end of the show. Google says it will stop tracking what you do online. The company says it will now not create new trackers once third-party cookies are phased out from its Chrome browser. Those cookies track your online activity to send you personalized ads. But in a blog post on Wednesday, Google says tracking should not be a must in order to get relevant advertising. However, the decision does not mean targeted advertising will come to an end. Instead of cookies, Google says it will use software that prevents individual tracking but still delivers results to advertisers and publishers. Coming up on Good Morning Northwest, we're showing you what it takes to become a firefighter with an in-depth look at the training academy right here in the Tri-Cities.
Now, CapKVU First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Kristin Walls.
And happy Thursday, everybody. Getting closer and closer to the end of the work week. A little bit of some daylight out there right now. This is from Richland's Columbia Point. Sunrise today at 6:29 and then sunset at 5:48. So we're getting ready for another beautiful day in store for us. We've been getting spoiled by some beautiful sunrises and sunsets. This is actually a sunset along the Columbia River. Steve actually takes his drone out, snaps pictures. He's been sending me a bunch of just wonderful photos. But this one's just beautiful, again, along the Columbia River. I love the pinks that you can see here, almost a reflection you can see there along the river there from the sky. So if you have a photo, your sunrise, sunset that you love to show here on Good Morning Northwest, you can email those over to me, Kristin W. at yaktrinews.com. So you can head over there, or capkview.com. You can send those photos over to me. Starting off early this morning, we have temperatures which are a few spots below freezing. 31 right now in the Tri-Cities, 37 Walla Walla, Connell this morning at 28, and then starting off this morning for Yakima at 34 degrees. So it is chilly, dress in layers. We're going to have that nice warm up back into the 60s for today, and fairly light wind speeds across the area. The winds, though, will start to pick up later tonight, and then as we head into your Friday, that's going to be our next system. With the next system, that'll bring us some rain chances. So we have a few clouds that are drifting in from the west this morning. We're still going to see that mostly sunny sky. The majority of these clouds are just some high clouds. We should have just a beautiful day in store for us. So still pretty quiet right now for the Pacific Northwest. Next rain chance starting to move in here later tonight and into Friday. So as we get you over to Futurecast, locally today, again, enjoying that sunshine. There's a look at 4 o'clock. Later on tonight and early tomorrow morning, we're still dry, but more cloud cover, especially for the Yakima and the Kittitas Valley. And then the second half of the day, especially around Yakima, Toppenish, and Ellensburg, your rain chance will start to build in. There's 5 o'clock, but we're still dry. Tri-Cities into the foothills, enjoying another nice day despite some of those winds that'll pick up. I'm thinking 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts are in the forecast for tomorrow. And then we'll have, especially in the Columbia Basin into the foothills, a rain chance moving in Friday night into Saturday morning. There's 7 a.m., but this should quickly be pushing out back to a mostly sunny sky for your Saturday afternoon. And it's going to be a bit cooler as well for the weekend. After some upper 60s Friday, we're going to be back down into the 50s for your Saturday and for your Sunday. So speaking of temperatures, for today, 54 in Ellensburg with 59 degrees in Yakima. We should be jumping up to 64, Tri-Cities, 62 in Connell, and then those mid-60s in Hermiston. Dayton today close to 60, and then mid-60s there for Walla Walla and also for Pendleton. Overnight tonight will be a bit breezy, not quite as cold as numbers fall through the upper 30s and low 40s. So there's your 7-day forecast. Rain chance moving in Friday night into Saturday morning, and then we'll dry things out, especially next week. We're going to see those numbers right around average, 57 on Tuesday, 56 on Wednesday. And then that 7-day forecast for Yakima. A few showers there, especially for your Friday afternoon, and a bit breezy, but then enjoying more sunshine over the weekend, especially for your Saturday with a high of 54.
Thank you, Kristin. Have you ever wondered what it takes to become a firefighter? They're always there, responding to emergencies and serving the community, but what does it take? This week I got an inside look at a local academy training recruits to answer the call. Day in and day out, firefighters answer the call, looking out for families in our community. But before they can do that, they're putting in hundreds of hours training for the day they have to respond to a fire like this.
The academy is a 16-week academy here for the fire departments here in the region. We train these people that have very little to no experience to people that have up to 10 years on the job. Basically teaching them the skills and what we do here as a region for the fire departments to better prepare them so we can respond to those emergencies to the public.
13 recruits, 8 set to join the Richland Fire Department and 5 set to join the Pasco Fire Department, are 2 weeks into their 16-week training program here in the Tri-Cities.
It's 10-hour days, but when you have a day filled with pressure, performance, exercise, and doing everything you can to help your friends keep up and keep moving forward and pace with the class, you blink and it's over.
Brian Dice is a fresh face to the fire department and is eager to accept the challenge of the academy.
What I'm looking forward to most is seeing how we evolve as a group of guys that most of us have never met prior to this. And we're all embarking on this thing that objectively is extremely difficult and is going to push each of us.
And while these recruits are pushed through drills to join the fire department, current firefighters are 50 yards away, continuing their training to become the best firefighter they can be.
A good firefighter is someone that has the desire and the determination to serve the public. People call us on their worst days, and we're there to make their day better any way we can possible.
Dice hoping that this group can serve our community as well as those ahead of him.
With all of us banding together, pushing each other like we have this past week, we're going to be a very tight-knit, effective group by the end of this. That's what I'm excited to see.
This is the 5th class to go through the Fire Academy here in the Tri-Cities. The Pasco Fire Department says they plan on having a class every year and hiring 5 new employees out of each class. The Senate is making changes to President Biden's nearly $2 trillion coronavirus relief plan, already passed by the House. Senate Democrats are trimming down the number of people who will get stimulus checks. The House said everyone making less than $100,000 per year should get a check. The Senate is changing that to $80,000. They're also expected to remove the $15 minimum wage section of the relief bill. Those changes mean the House will have to vote again on the plan before it goes to President Biden. Lawmakers are hoping to make that happen before the federal unemployment boost ends on March 14th. The Senate is expected to take a first procedural vote on the COVID-19 relief bill today, and it's expected to be a lengthier than usual process. Republican Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin says his state plans to make Senate clerks read the entire $1.9 trillion relief bill out loud. That could take about 10 hours to complete. The reading of bill usually passed over, but it can be forced if a member calls for it. Johnson says he wants to extend the matter by also offering amendments, which he has the power to do as long as another senator seconds his motions. When we come back, we're 2 weeks before the Tri-City Americans finally hit the ice, and they've set their rosters. That's next in sports. Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. Researchers are still trying to get some answers about the long-term effects of coronavirus, and they think they might have figured out what causes the brain fog some people get. That's confusion, memory loss, and trouble concentrating that can last for months. Scientists looking through the brains of some people who died of coronavirus found some extremely large cells that aren't supposed to be there. They look kind of like cells that you would usually find in bone marrow. Researchers don't know where the cells came from or how they got loose, but they say the cells are so big they might actually be stopping blood from getting to your brain, which would make it hard to think. Some good news in the fight against COVID-19. The number of cases in nursing homes has dropped by more than 80% since December. That's according to a new report from the American Healthcare Association and the National Centers for Assisted Living. People in long-term care facilities were some of the first to get coronavirus vaccines in many states, including Washington. In sports, we'll start with the Tri-City Americans, who finally get back on the ice in 2 weeks against the Portland Winterhawks. The 24-game sprint will be solely against members of the WHL U.S. Division. Recently, the Americans announced their roster of 25 players. They'll have 2 goalies, 14 forwards, and 9 defenders. 17 of the 25 AMs are returning from last season. The 33rd season in WHL will be without fans, but it'll be good to have them back soon. On to the NBA, and the Portland Trail Blazers were back in action last night against Steph Curry and the Warriors. It took some late heroics from Damian Lillard, but the Blazers held off Golden State in a thriller, 108-106.
Lillard has it poked away by Bazemore and keeps his dribble alive now. Lillard step back 3. Bang!
With the win, Portland is 2-1 this season against the Warriors, which could prove critical down the line as the teams jockey for playoff positioning. They'll also host the Sacramento Kings tonight before heading off on their All-Star break. Damian Lillard will represent the Blazers in Atlanta as a reserve for the Western Conference.
All right, switching gears at 5:56 to that close to home forecast. Another beautiful day today with a mostly sunny sky. Should have a nice warm up as well. We're currently around the freezing mark in many spots. We're going to be up to 64 today in Pasco, into Burbank, 62 in Basin City, Connell, also up to 62. Just plenty of sunshine throughout the day today. Also a lot of sun there as well through the foothills of the Blues with 63 for Waitsburg and Milton Freewater. Boardman today at 60 degrees with Hetner at 63. Athena jumping up to 60 degrees this afternoon. We're going to see a lot of sunshine throughout the day today as well for Zilla in Granger, Yakima at 59. Natchez today up to about 55 degrees. And some increasing clouds, especially later in the day today, but still going to be very pleasant, up to 50 degrees in Cle Elum, 54 in Ellensburg, and Vantage in the upper 50s.
Thank you, Kristin. Check this out at 5:57. Now we'll look at some of the positive stories coming out of the coronavirus pandemic. Or should I say positive? The Tufts Medical Center and Children's Hospital in Boston has its very first full-time pet therapy dog. Bob is a 2-year-old golden doodle that's trained to provide comfort and ease anxiety for patients and staff. He was paid for by the Duncan Joy in Childhood Foundation. Hospital staff say Bob is already extremely popular.
Oh my gosh, and the name Bob. It doesn't get any better than that. Anytime you give dogs the human names, it's just the best.
They should have dogs everywhere, like in the news. We should get one in the news station too to spread positivity.
We'll have to kind of maybe revisit this. But yes, having them there, it really does help with recovery and just feeling better overall.
Definitely. So we hope to see more pictures of Bob very soon.
Yeah.
Coming up, a dangerous crime that only takes seconds is spreading, with dozens of cases near Seattle and Tacoma. We're hearing from one of the victims. Plus, Yakima is getting thousands more doses of coronavirus vaccine, but officials still aren't opening this mass vaccination site. We're talking about where all those shots will end up. Good Morning Northwest continues right now.